Hi, I'm Tiffany Oshinsky.
And I'm Khat Bell.
And this is Serving Pancakes with League One Volleyball. The inaugural Love season is finally here. Each episode will be going over the matches from the week to keep you up to date on everything League One Volleyball. Then stick around after the analysis for interviews with some amazing people in and around the sport. With only a few more weeks left in the regular season and after a jam-packed weekend, we're going to focus just on all the action from week 11. But before we get into the games, how are you doing, Khat?
I'm doing good. Long travel day, going to Omaha, long travel day coming back, but I feel great. How are you doing?
No, I'm doing great. I feel like, I'm probably a little more rested than you are.
I feel dead, for sure. But, body still tea. We keep going.
Keep going. Yeah, there's 3 more weeks left, so you got to keep
Can you
going.
believe it? It's 3 more weeks? So crazy.
I know. I got to say, the season flew by so fast.
So quick, yeah. For sure. I say the same thing.
All right, well, let's get into it. Into week 11, we're going to start with Thursday night's matchup between White Hot Love Madison versus Love Salt Lake at Bruin Arena. And Madison continued their hot streak in dramatic fashion, solidifying the W in 5 sets, 20-25, 25-15, 17-25, 32-30, 15-7. So what was Madison doing right to stick out this win?
Hey, Madison has found their groove, honestly. Kind of short and kind of long-term in the game, but now they found a groove. They're consistent right now. Obviously, Annie's amazing. They found a connection through Lauren Carlini. So they're in a group right now. They're killing it.
Yes, they are. Now let's talk about that 4th set. Madison was trailing 24-21. 1 set point away from losing the entire match. We've talked about previously on the podcast about how the best teams find ways to win and can persevere in these moments. But what specifically did Madison do at the end to not just stay in the game, but eventually get the win at 32-30?
Honestly, I think executing transition. I think transition game is always very important. If you can defend the ball and get the ball up in the middle of the court and get a great set to your pins, I think transitioning out of the system was great, defending well, and just staying in those moments, taking 1 point at a time. I felt like Madison wasn't being rushed. They were super patient, and obviously it helped them out in the end.
Now, you already mentioned Annie Drew Schumacher. We can't talk about this match without mentioning the great Southpaw.
Cannot.
No, not at all. She has been unbelievable in this win streak for Madison, and Thursday night was absolutely no different. A love best 26 kills, only 5 errors in 58 attempts. Absolutely insane. And her biggest contribution probably came in that 4th set where she had 9 kills alone. But I actually want to give a shout out to outside Jennifer Yaniska, who finished with 14 kills, including the match winner. Those 14 kills were a season high for her. So talk about the importance of being ready to come in off the bench and contribute.
Yeah, for sure. We didn't see a lot of Jennifer coming in the beginning of the season, and now she's kind of made her stride with the team these last 5 matches. And I love that when she comes in on the floor, she's bringing what she does. I said last time we talked about her a few weeks ago that she's very consistent. So they have a consistent attacker on the pin is what you need, whether it's ball control, putting a ball away. She brings them a much more stable option on the outside because they have Annie all day on the right side. So she helps them out quite a bit.
Now they're on a 5-game win streak right now. 2 more weeks left in the regular season before Love Finals begins. Are they peaking too soon, or is this the right time for them to peak?
You know what? I'm going to say it's the right time. It's a great time to peak, actually. I think it's better late than never. We do have some teams still figuring some stuff out, a.k.a. Austin and Omaha. But, hey, we're going to figure it out. I think it's a great transition game with them right now. They found a way to pivot, and they're playing well, and I just hope they continue to play well. Not too well against us, but I hope they continue to keep playing well and showing up every week.
Speaking of Austin and Omaha, perfect pivot to the next match, which was the game that you crushed it. Let's go. After 3 straight losses, Love Austin beat Love Omaha in 5 thrilling sets on Friday. 24-26, 25-20, 25-15, 23-25, 18-16. And you and Middle Chiaco had a night. I mean, absolutely incredible. Between the two of you, you had 43 points thanks to 31 kills, 11 blocks, and an ace. And you yourself had 17 kills. So besides being on the court, what was different in this game that helped you ladies get that W?
I think that's one thing that Chiaka mentioned to our press conference, that there's just some things a score on paper doesn't have. I think it takes more than just being able to put a ball away. You have to be able to kind of feed the energy around the players around you. And I felt like I was breathing fire into the girls around me. it was a great night. I think we were vibing off each other really well. I came in with a lot of energy, just trying to, like I said, feed into them and feed into Logan and try to find some type of like stability on the court. So it was our night and it was great. It was great.
I mean, Chiaka mentioned that during her post-game interview because she earned player of the match honors in this match. Mm-hmm. But I mean, she mentioned that you being on the court helped create, like you said, you lit a fire underneath them, right?
I feel like today we needed a lot of energy and a lot of fire coming on the court, and I felt like Khat lit a fire under everyone's, pardon my French, ass. And I feel like when she was in, I felt more confident. So I feel like I could not have done tonight without her pumping up everyone. So thank you.
Now, you two are good friends. Yes. So talk about the sixth sense that you guys kind of have when you get to play with your friend, and how do you try to replicate that sixth sense when you're not actually lined up to block next to your bestie?
I think it's the communication. I'm talking to Chi. I'm tripping to her. Even I'm in the backcourt. I'm telling her, give me one. Show me what you got. Can you get her or not? Like, tell me, like, I'm giving her just some, like, information. Just like, just trying to get her to like kind of like perk up a little bit. I talk to the girls like they're my friends. I don't have a kind of like a volleyball dialogue where I'm kind of like, hey guys, let's go. No, I talk how I talk normally to them. Like, hey, like, get this ball right now, like shut her down, be in her face. Like that's the kind of things I'm saying, as well as like obviously the opposing team can hear it too. So, just like bringing who I am, my personality to the court, and being able to, like I said, feed into the girls around me and bring their spirits up is what it's cost me nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's a tough job, obviously coming off the bench, but it's what I do best. And I was very fortunate and I'm very happy to be able to contribute the way I did on Friday night.
Absolutely. And after a pretty dominant win in the third set, Omaha fought back to win that fourth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what did you say to the team in between that fourth and fifth set to keep their spirits up? And what did you say to yourself? Because 7 of your 17 kills did come in that fifth set.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, what I told him, I was like, give me your best volleyball right now. It's 15 points. Everything you have on the floor right now. Obviously, we're all tired. It kind of been like a dogfight throughout the entire night. But I was like, give me your best volleyball and the rest will work itself. I think in the fifth set, it was neck and neck towards the end. I kept telling myself, like, we got to get 2 more points. And in the last block, I told Chiaka, I was like, get me one. Get me a block. And she wouldn't did that. So it was great. It was great.
You didn't need just 15 points. You needed 18 points to win that match.
Oh, yeah, true. Towards the end, we were like, dang.
You're like, let's go. Let's finish this. Yeah. What was the celebration like post-game?
I mean, it was just like, I was screaming, and then like I stopped screaming, and I just like was taking in the moment of just like hugging Chiaka and hugging the girls around me, and just knowing that like, the well-fought battle was worth it towards the end. It wasn't all for nothing. It sucks to go into a fifth set and lose, regardless if you're getting, it's a good match or not, but it just sucks to go all the way and not to get the result. So the fact that we went all the way and it was at one point tied, they were up set point 14-15 on us, and we managed to fight back, and to be able to be in that moment with them was amazing. It's great.
All right, well, that game was a great win for you ladies, but unfortunately there wasn't a repeat in the first game of Saturday.
Short-lived. It's normal.
A good win on Friday, but in the end, Love Atlanta pulled off a sweep over you guys on Saturday, 25-19, 25-21, 25-15. So what was the difference between Friday night's match and this one, and how did Atlanta take advantage?
I mean, what are we talking about here? The difference was the team. Obviously, Atlanta, we held them pretty well, I think, offensively with our blocking and defense. But Atlanta's great. They're a really good team. They have really good chemistry right now. Obviously, Kelsey is going to be Kelsey every single night, and she definitely was, for us, the player of the match as well. Well, I know also Mackenzie was as well, but I think Kelsey definitely kept them in the game a lot. And they found a weakness. I think you caught on to tips kind of late, I would say, in the second set. But I would just say, they played the game well. They had some really good points. Blocking was amazing. Like, you either had to try to go through them or around them, and they were just touching balls all day long. So they just did a really good job as far as like blocking us and kind of figuring out where we were at in our offensive scheme.
Yeah, so let's talk about Mackenzie for a second, because as you said, she won the player of the match honors. She scored 12 points from 9 kills, 3 blocks, but she also had 11 digs. So which part of her game do you find the most dominating and hardest to stop?
Surprising, dominating, I would say passing. We served her basically almost every ball, and she kept them in system. So that was something that kind of caught us off by surprise. I think in the past, this season, Mackenzie has kind of struggled a bit in the passive line. I think that's kind of all areas on every team. You have one passer who's, pretty good, and you can kind of get the ball in a certain way. Maybe we can kind of catch him out of system. But Mackenzie was just passing dimes, which kept them in system on top of, you said, defense. in transition, they're digging balls high in the middle of the court, and then they have Maddie Buck, who's an amazing setter as well, and she's able to keep them in transition. So it was tough to beat, very tough to beat.
Week after week, we keep talking about how great Atlanta has been playing, and they've been atop the standings the majority of this season and have already clinched a bye in the Love Finals as one of the top 2 teams in the standings. But you've played them 3 times now. We've seen them lose to Houston. So what is their Achilles heel? How can teams beat Atlanta?
It's a needle in a haystack. That's a hard thing to kind of find. It's almost like you have to kind of catch them on a bad day, potentially. And even if their bad day is bad, it's not that bad, you know? If anything, I would say if a team can out-defend them, that helps. You know, Houston's a great defensive team. I would say probably the best team in the league defensive-wise. I think Maddie Kingdon, Rochelle, she's actually the lead defensive player right now, even including libero. So I think Houston does a really good job as far as defending them pretty well. And I think, like I said, if you can defend more balls, it's going to help you, like I said, again, transition out and be more successful in that. That's a good way to help you beat Atlanta.
Well, Atlanta was hoping to secure that number 1 spot going into the finals, but they're going to have to wait a little longer because number 2 Houston secured another win, beating Love Omaha Saturday night in 4 sets, 25-21, 25-18, 23-25, 25-23. Now you can tell by the scores, especially the last 2 sets, that this was a tough match for them to win. So what did Houston ultimately do to get that W?
I think, honestly, what most people can't really see is the chemistry that Houston has. Like, everyone has it. Their mesh, their gel is so nice. It's so tight. You know, majority of their starting 6 are really good friends. They have that relationship. I think it kind of relies off the court, and it helps them on the court as well, the communication standpoint. They're able to kind of feed into each other the way they can communicate with one another, and it's able to help them be consistent throughout the season.
Those intangibles for sure.
Yeah, they're besties.
Of course, Jordan Thompson, no surprise here, was named player of the match thanks to 21 kills, 2 blocks, and 13 digs. Now, looking at Jordan's stats, her 3 highest kill efficiencies came in matches against Omaha. How does she do it when she goes up against that Omaha block and defense?
I think, honestly, just being her. JT is so athletic. She gets so high on top of the ball, and I think just finding that range of motion. If she can keep the ball, I think throughout her game, she keeps the ball off of Justine, which helps a lot. So her being able to trigger between middle back and right back, putting the ball in those placements areas definitely does help. You know, Justine's one of the best liberos, or probably the best libero in the league right now. And if you can be able to keep any ball off of her, will help your offensive game for sure.
And we talked about Madison being on a hot streak and if they're peaking too early. But with Omaha, we kind of have the opposite, right? They've lost 9 in a row now. Do you think this slump might get to them enough to actually turn it around before the finals?
You know, going into the finals, I think it's anyone's game. I think right now it's almost like, you know, chess. It's like, okay, we win this game. Who do we want to play in the semis or in the quarterfinals? Who do we don't want to play, kind of thing. Like I said, it can be anyone's game. Hopefully, Omaha going into the finals can find some type of like stench together and kind of will together to kind of find the chemistry. But it's tough. But I think if they can kind of manage their game and manage their mindset and manage each other, they will be able to kind of pull it together.
All right. Well, now we only have 2 weeks left in the season. So we're going to look ahead to week 12. And which game we are most excited for. So the lineup we got for week 12 on Thursday night, the top 2 teams face off for the final time in the regular season, with Houston hosting Atlanta and Atlanta looking to clinch the top spot in the finals. Your team, Austin, hosts the weekend with Love, and we start with you ladies playing Omaha on Friday night. Then it's Love Salt Lake versus Love Omaha in the first match of Saturday's doubleheader, and we end with you guys, Austin, facing off against Love Madison, who are on a 5-game win streak. So which game are you most excited for?
I would say Love Madison. I think the last time we played them, it wasn't our best volleyball, and now be able to be more of our home court advantage, so to speak. I think we have a little bit chip on our shoulder about that game. We were not, as a team, we were not happy about that match. So I think I'm excited to see what we come up this week during practice, prepare for that and for Omaha. But yeah, that would be my match of the game for sure. Match of the week. That's what I'm thinking of.
I like it. That's definitely going to be a really good match, and I can't wait to watch you guys. Especially, I mean, the way that you guys played Friday night, if you show up like that against Madison, who's white hot, I mean, it's going to be a really good match.
Exactly.
But I'm also, I mean, I've been saying this week in and a week out, but I just, Houston, Atlanta for me.
It's a good game.
The rivalry
Always.
that's not officially a rivalry, but to me
exactly.
it is.
I think it is for everyone. I think we all think the same thing. 1 and 2 is always going to be a rivalry for sure. And I think also I think this is the game to secure the spot for number 1, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Because
that's
if
gonna be
Houston
good.
wins, then they're tied with.
Yeah.
So because they're 2 games back, so it'll be exciting. I'm pumped. All right,
too.
Khat. Well, that's gonna be it for this episode of Serving Pancakes. Stay tuned next week where you and I will recap week 12.
Can't wait.
Let's go. Thanks for watching Serving Pancakes. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. You can also listen to the podcast version on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.